By pressing play, you've been transported to a dimension where there will be no apologies given for the ridiculous and random comments made by your host and their guests. Thank you for listening and enjoy the experience.
We are Supernatural.
We are back.
Are you ready?
For episode 22 of the most ridiculously random pop culture podcast in the 719. Yo, where the captions at? Yo, baby. Yo, baby, where they at, baby? Yo, baby. Yo, baby, where they at, baby? Yo, baby. Where them captions at? Ayy, where them captions at? Yay, better be with that walk, that wet ass podcast coming out here, popping out. Don't you know, Juggernaut? Yeah, we ain't stopping now. K Marco got that Flint Marco flow, so you know it's dirty from the south with the mouth. Ayy, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm yours truly, Kels for Show, aka No Luther, all Vandros, and joining me today is my bro host, of course.
You know who it is, Roscoe, aka Always Klaus, because I need to be high from the world today.
All right. And joining us today always is our boy, the five of it all, the glue connecting it, also the band because he's dead inside, but that's neither here nor there. Daniel Witter D. Rojas.
Oh my God, that Luther Novandros killed me.
Yo, that's what took me so long. I realized, I have an AKA. I had to think for a moment. Yo, and right now you might hear a chime in from a bit or two. Joining us on the show is Michelle.
Hey.
No intro. You might know her from this podcast and the main one, Escaping Podcast. Yeah, baby, yeah.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
And before we get into the main subject, let's talk about our weekend. Because today, normally we have a guest, so we're technically guestless, but that will never stop us from doing what we do best, and that's being our fabulous selves.
How was your weekend, kind fellow friend Kelsey?
Oh, shit was chill. It was pretty much the norm. Worked on Saturday, worked Friday.
Until you found out somebody was drinking your drink called Kelsey.
Oh, thank you for that little input, Michelle. Like, I didn't want to talk about that yet. But, you know, because this is Colorado Springs, some of our listeners don't live here. So, long story short, our favorite bar, Supernova, which is our cheers, has a secret menu drink called the Kelsey, named after the one and only, the ones right here. And, you know, Daniel and his lady friend partook.
I haven't had it at a bar.
Because you don't go to bars, so that'd be kind of hard for you to do. Like, you got to go out to get it in you.
It was like a plug-in for, not at a bar.
Yeah. Eventually, like, you will have one, you will be out. But, yeah, I did that. Hung out with everybody here for the most part outside of Michelle. But prior to this weekend, went camping for the first time. Long story short, it was all right. Well, it would have been fine if I wasn't stalked by a bear for 5 hours, so it was fine.
I gotta ask your roommate Kev how his first camping trip was, because I took him on his first camping trip.
Yeah, I will too, but I'm pretty sure he didn't have a bear walking around his tent for 5 hours sniffing and shit, which had me paranoid as fuck. But I survived. Now I'm here. Everybody else, weekends?
You know, my usual D&D Saturday with Mr. Rojas.
I do it up.
And, last time since I did tell y'all, your boy became a werebear.
You told him last week.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't know.
Like everybody else, he likes to bring it up.
I love to brag.
It's your podcast. Talk about the shit you want to talk about. Tell him one more time about the werebear.
Werebears, baby. It's when a full moon you don't turn into a werewolf, you turn into a bear. It's great.
Are you a polo werebear or you a black werebear?
I'm a brown bear. You know, a good old grizzly. Right. Is he? Yeah, grizzly's brown. Is he brown?
Yeah, they are definitely brown.
I know they ain't black.
It's the yogi of the tribe.
Also, in this campaign, I was able to travel to their last campaign's world, technically. And, you know, I learned some cool, sweet things. I aged up, lost my wings because, you know, I'm a tiefling. Didn't have them, but now I'd had them. So, you know, my team members had to see me older, then witness me lose some abilities, then just sit here and just be like, oh, that's cool. Haven't gotten the questions yet because we still in the midst of some other shit since I came back and brought them back to life.
Word, Danny.
Yeah, good weekend. Drank a couple Kelseys with, as you said, a lady friend.
Yeah, I can't be discreet, y'all.
Oh, we did celebrate a few birthdays over the weekend.
I did not because I wasn't there. But
Tyrese Friday.
Oh yeah.
We literally the few birthdays we did were on
like I said,
Saturdays and Ashland.
Nigga, I'm old. Don't even know what I did this weekend, really. That's why I kept that shit short. Like, oh yeah, we did do that whole thing.
It was your birthday?
No.
It was my cousin's birthday and then one of our homegirls.
Girl, you know it was my birthday.
God damn it, Dick.
But
Shut your face.
Hung out with a lady friend, had some friends point out that whole thing.
No, not point out. Observed and took full appliance of what we observed.
You observed me and someone enjoying each other's company. And I know I only do this on escaping, but if anyone listening out there has any interest, I am into everyone, male, female, non-binary, trans, doesn't matter. I'm Demi. Let's do this. But then also,
don't do it.
But then also DM'd for Roscoe and some of my roommates, and that was a really fun time. They fell for every trap that I threw at them. It's good.
So let's talk about what's popping. I'm gonna go ahead and start this off. You know, we don't try to be the political pundits or anything like this, but this is very important to me. The first black, but also I didn't think about that because, you know, once you're any type of black, no matter what you mix with, they're going to say black, but also first Asian female vice presidential candidate was selected by Joe Biden, and I just felt like that was the obvious choice, and also she should have been the nominee for the Democratic Party, but that's neither here nor there. I just think that that's dope, and the message that they're sending out there to not just women, but also women of color is like, yo, you could do your thing, girl. Be strong, be smart, stand by your morals, because somebody's always going to think you're wrong when you feel like you're right, and vice versa. And it's just going to be interesting and sad to see how this shit all unfolds, because I don't like none of this shit.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. I mean, yeah, she has her issues. I mean, can't front on that. But the fact of the matter is she's still a nominated black and Asian woman, no matter how bad her record is. I mean, she has her issues. Everybody has their issues. But it's one of those things like, I'm finding it even more hilarious at the fact that Donald Trump's just like, oh, you're going to vote. Biden added somebody that isn't for him, doesn't follow how he follows his views, this, that, and the third, and he talks trash about him. Who could work with somebody like Joe Biden when literally everything he stated is the same exact thing of what happened when he got voted in? He talked shit about Ted Cruz, talked shit about his wife, Ted Cruz working with him. Called Lindsey Graham trash, called him all this and that. Say he will never work with Lindsey Graham. They go golfing almost damn near every other weekend.
I'd like to throw in, and this is not political, this is just a joke, but I think the best person to run with Joe Biden is either a scratch and sniff sticker or a Febreze air freshener.
Funny. And once again, the old adage of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And yeah. And once and always, we will never tell you who to vote for, but we will always say be educated, do your research, and do what's right for you.
And everybody, Facebook is not your news.
No, it's
Yes,
not. Neither is this
never.
podcast.
Nope.
Not even
Yes.
a little bit.
Anything social media related.
Exactly. Yeah. Go into the real world, talk to real people, make real decisions.
If you think diverse parties can't get along, you're in the wrong podcast, because we do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And speaking of diverse cast, or maybe not, because maybe this is the reason why this shit is they departed from the series. Both creators of the Avatar: The Last Airbender animated series has left the Netflix live action series due to creative differences. And that has sent the Avatar fandom in an uproar. They already, of course, canceled the show now. This is going to be worse than the movie, yada, yada, yada. And I just feel like I just need to watch it. Like
Maybe
with anything.
I didn't even follow that. I didn't know that was a thing right now.
Oh, yeah,
they
you know,
just
that's what the
left
show's
over
for.
the weekend.
We'll let you know some shit you didn't even want to know about. But I'm always like, let me see the product before I jump off the ledge and maybe make an accurate and informed decision about said topic. How you feel about that, Ross?
I mean, I'm kind of with, like, I don't want to sound like I'm kind of one of those diehards, but I am kind of one of those diehards. It's just, we seen what happened when they weren't involved with the live action movie.
Exactly.
And literally everybody was like, if they were just involved, they could have put some input and a few things could have changed and the M. Night Shyamalan movie could have been great. Now, we thought Netflix did something right. Now we kind of find out, like, yo, they're not really agreeing with them. So it's like, it's another thing behind the curtain. Like, Netflix might be still kind of TV wise and big business wise on control with other people's IP, even though they're giving them a platform with it. So it's just like, if y'all ain't really just letting the creative people just be them, then what are y'all doing? I mean, like, y'all literally let Selena Gomez and them do whatever they want with this 13 Reasons. And look what y'all got. Y'all had the perfect thing with a live action Avatar. And now the creators left. And with the creators gone, it's just like, what are we going to do? And now I have like even more worries. Like, this is another one of those things that's like, we lost Sense8, which was a great show. In between, technically that's gone because this ain't no real talks about that or any update info.
That shit been in limbo longer than Magic.
Bruh, there's so many good shows that they had that only got like 1 or 2 seasons.
Oh, the OA? Let's not... Because that third season of OA was
gonna be great. And like, y'all just cancel it. So it's just like...
Travelers.
I still have to watch the second season of OA.
Ooh, girl, get on.
Girl, you missing out.
I know.
And it's just like so much of y'all good content is just lost in the void because y'all don't know what y'all want to do with it, or not many people are watching it, or not many people are talking about it. But yet y'all also, Netflix, y'all don't really promote all y'all stuff like y'all doing. Like, currently they're promoting their good stuff, but those are the ones they're wasting millions of dollars for. Extraction, Project Power, but yet y'all got all these other good shows that y'all can still waste. Like,
you have to understand, I feel like, not to cut you off, but a lot of these platforms are getting ready for political agendas, and so that's what they're promoting right now.
With Netflix, they only promoted their 2 biggest shows with their 2, not even shows, movie with their biggest stars currently, the Chris Hemsworth and this latest movie, Project Power, with Jamie Foxx. And it's just like, yeah, that's cool that y'all are promoting these 2 big movies, but it's like, people are only going to watch those for like the weekend. It's only going to be in the top 10 for maybe a week or 2. Some of y'all Netflix original shows stay up there for like 2-3 weeks. Like, literally, their biggest thing that they've promoted without really having a big promotion and cross-branding is Curse. Like, I can honestly say they have a crossover with an MMO called Curse. Literally, the first week after Curse dropped, they did it for their mobile version. And then as of like probably last week, the beginning of this month, they did it. They brought that crossover event to consoles, and it's all the way to like the 26th. They could do something small like that.
And you bring that up, but I there's always different factors. I believe it all depends on what they feel like they have.
It's their hit shows.
Because I feel like the main reason Curse got pushed was because of the Hannah Baker effect.
And
that's one of the most popular shows on there. It stars her. But then you have a movie like John Henry with Terry Crews. He's popular. Ludacris, one of the most popular rappers in the game. But you didn't promote that because also I know they knew that movie was hot. But
they promoted the thing with John Henry is they promoted.
They didn't promote it like Curse. That's what I'm saying. Like,
they didn't promote like Curse. They didn't promote it like.
Yeah, but I'm saying like because what you talking about like the Hollywood stars, like that movie had a star. Even with Coffee and Kareem with Taraji P and Old Buddy, like they could have promoted that too, but they didn't.
I can honestly say those 2 had promos, but they weren't as big as like how Extraction and
we're saying the same thing.
Are.
We're saying the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like Warrior Nun, based off a comic novel, and they still failed it. It was the same thing. I just feel
but
like
the thing
the
that
stars that they got for the film just weren't big enough for it, and there's still a platform for it.
And the thing that I would also say is like even with the ones that they failed for, they have a longer standing in the trending compared to like the big ones that they did. Like, I can honestly say Project Power, it's probably going to drop off the top 10 by probably next week.
You said it because we didn't watch that. That shit might be going hard. So.
It's going hard. I'm not going to lie. It's going hard. I mean,
we probably watched
it's number 1 for a reason, but it's just like, yeah, that's number 1 for a reason, but y'all Teenage Bounty Hunter that dropped the same day, it's number 4. It's probably going to stay number 4, probably jump up to number 2, probably drop down to number 8. probably jump back up, but it's gonna fluctuate without the week. With Power, it's gonna probably stay at 1 for like probably this rest of this week, and then probably hit 8 and then drop off.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes with marketing too, because I just thought about Old Guard. Old Guard had a decent amount of exposure, but after it became a hit, that's when they went and started talking about the diversity in the female cast, which I respect, because they was like, all right, you like it, now let's tell more people why you should fuck with it, instead of like Birds of Prey and throwing it down your face for it not to be the movie they had you to believe it was.
And for you, that went that way. The reason why I kind of went to watch it, Old Guard, is because they promoted it like that too, like the day before.
Yeah, see, that's
the day before release. Yeah. And I found out like directed by a female, the staff, like majority of the production team, or a good portion of the production team, was females that liked that loved the action movies, that always wanted to work on set with an action movie. Just wasn't given that chance. And I'm just like, oh shit. Then yeah, I'm even gonna support this more, but yet it's like, oh, I'm supporting a good movie, but yet it's also a good movie produced by females, and it's not bad, where that's the conception of female produced movies and female, anywhere where majority of the staff is females, it's not gonna come out right. No, Old Guard proves that trope wrong.
Well, and not to mention the fact that Charlize Theron is becoming the action hero that we deserve, and is actually kicking a lot of ass. And like you just said, it wasn't like, it's like we've talked about on Escaping, where it's not shoving an agenda down your throat. It's like, no,
it's just being a movie.
It's just being a movie.
Well, speaking of women kicking asses, let's talk about these women in the WWE world, Ross. What's been going on with that? What news you got to tell us about that?
Outside, the only real crazy news I have beside that is Sonya Deville over the weekend had an attempted robbery not attempted robbery.
Kidnapping.
But an attempted kidnapping where some dude who's been stalking her for years.
Wait, in real life?
Yeah, no, sorry, like real life, yeah.
Some dude's been stalking her for years via Twitter, found her address and tried to kidnap her, and the cops were informed and captured him, and he explained this. And but past real life and not in kayfabe world, in the world of wrestling, coming up this Sunday at SummerSlam, Husk will be fighting for both female singles belts, as well as WWE announced that after this Sunday, next Sunday will be their next pay-per-view. So technically within 2 weeks, we will have 2 pay-per-views. SummerSlam, their WrestleMania of the summer, and then we'll be having Payback that next Sunday. A lot of people speculated that it was going to be WWE's Women's Evolution Part 2, but it's came to find out that we're not having an all-women's themed wrestling event, pay-per-view event. As well as this Saturday at NXT TakeOver 30, Adam Cole will be fighting former NFL player Pat McAfee. Sorry for my pronunciation. Y'all know how I am. And as well as Io Shirai will be defending her belt against Dakota Kai. Low-key hoping Dakota Kai beat her. Yes, Kelsey, is there anything you want to say?
Yes, there is, because we about to wrap this portion up real quick, and it's funny that you can pronounce all these Japanese names and movies, but you can't pronounce no Irish shit. But speaking of the Irish, this has nothing to do with the Irish. Blink-182 dropped a new song over the weekend called Quarantine, and it sounds just like a Blink-182 quarantine song.
It sounds so fucking early 2000s, and I just be like...
It made me happier than it should.
Also, you have heard it. Quarantine,
oh my God.
It fucking sucks. I don't want to be in the house. Something along those lines. The Killers, my third favorite band of all time, dropped a new single, Last of a Dying Breed. My second favorite group of all time, Linkin Park, has a new single called She Couldn't, off the 20th anniversary of Hybrid Theory coming out this year.
It's just too hard for me to listen to.
Where, always RP to Chester. And if you want to listen to these songs in their entirety, of course, listen to YWDC8. On Spotify, there's always going to be a link for that, because, we fucks with music, and we want you to fuck with the music we fuck with.
Nobody else finds it that hard to listen to?
Oh, we do. I do, too. I
haven't listened to the new Linkin Park single yet.
Do you remember in high school at Brock's house, do you ever look at his door and it said Michelle Bennington?
Aww.
That was me.
That was me with Nelly Furtado picture in my locker room that she got pregnant and I wanted to burn the world down.
That was me with Kirstie Alley.
And then I cut you off, but it's
No, you good, girl. You can cut me off. I grow back strong. I'm Hydra here.
And also like to give out an RIP to ROH's second champion, world heavyweight champion Xavier. He passed away over the weekend. His real name John Bodega.
Wait.
Yeah, not that John.
No, I'm
Bodega.
just saying, like, that's what I'm saying.
John
Wait, for real?
Boyega, but not John Boyega.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Those little letters. I was like, oh shit.
My heart.
That's odd.
But yeah, he also too was black.
I know. I can tell by the name. So that's going to bring into Yo What's Poppin'. And we're going to leave you guys with a little break to tell you about some things that's coming to the network real soon. So we'll get back to you about what we're geeking out about.
How's it going, guys? This is Daniel.
And Kelsey Show, a.k.a. Kelsey Greer. And today we're going to give you a little introduction to a new show that's coming to our network.
Our network is growing and we're really excited about what's happening. But instead of us telling you about the show, we figured we'd let the hosts of it bring you in on what's coming up. Guys?
All right, hey guys, we are 3 guys, 10 eyes, just 3 guys. 2 of us wear glasses, simple math.
Yeah, we just are going over simple entertainment topics, pop culture, sports, music, interviews, and stuff like that as well for the local scene.
Yeah, we're just going to try to bring up the community. If you have anything that you're starting up, your career, we'd like to have you on the show. Just hit us up. We have Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yeah, all of those at 3 guys, 10 eyes.
Word. And do you want to give us your names individually, or is this one collective?
Is this
unit?
is this an anonymous thing, or are you all 3 attached like a Cerberus?
Well, we are all 3 attached at the hip.
It's kind of
We're
it's
kind of like
almost
Siamese-
disgusting to look
Siamese
at, I have to
twins.
say.
Them hips don't lie, though.
Well, it's actually more hips than could lie.
Unfortunately, we have very small hips, so we're just literally.
Like an Instagram model.
I go by Young Pyramid. I also make music, so check me out on
What
that.
type of music you make?
I make hip hop and like alternative
Do you
hip
play
hop.
live instruments, or is it just like...
No, it's all like
He is the
beats,
instrument.
and then I make my own lyrics and I rap.
Yo, we might have to talk, bro. We might have to talk.
I've heard.
No, we will talk.
So when can we expect to hear from you guys next?
We are posting every Tuesday. We go live right now on Facebook. That'll be going on every Sunday and probably for another 3 weeks. And that's on my Facebook, Derek Shreve. You want to go?
We have his name now. Okay, you wrote that down?
Yeah.
Great.
My social, my social is 666. So hit me up.
Yo.
Dude, we just lost our whole Christian following, right?
No. On this network, I think you just built some more.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't believe in God while believing in the beast, baby.
Cool. And then, I'm Ultimate Dusty. I just do gardening and gaming.
word.
Yeah,
What type of gardening?
all kinds, man. We got pumpkins growing, watermelon growing,
'Cause I've been trying
squashes
to grow
coming in.
some collard greens. My garden's been fucking up lately, but then again, I haven't put too much intensity to
Okay,
it.
yeah, we haven't tried no collard greens, but we got kale and lettuce and all that good stuff coming in. Just today we harvested some cucumbers and tomatoes.
Hey, yo, you grow some tomatoes, give them to me when they're green. I'm frying them some bitches up.
You
Same
can
way we
probably
with
do that
people.
with the abusive husband.
Exactly,
Yeah, it's crazy.
always.
And you?
I'm Christian. I don't rap or garden. I just work at a grocery store.
Damn, yes. You are
My
the
man.
working man, the everyday
Essential.
person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too essential sometimes, but that's all right.
Too central.
So we're looking forward to having you guys on the network, and I know that you listening out there right now, I can't tell you how exciting this is, how fucking wet you should be getting.
Don't do that.
I did.
I'm dripping. myself.
I'm honestly a little scared.
You got a mop around
Should
here?
be.
Yeah, no.
A healthy dose of fear will always keep you alive. Batman taught me
It's
that.
kind of just one of the rules of the network. You come in here, we all get naked, we record it, and it's good to be a little afraid. So
Saves you on AC costs too.
the fact that we are in a basement and it's cooler does not help the fact that I'm still sweating. We have them coming onto the network starting next month. Be ready because it's going to get crazy. Guys, thanks for being here, and let's get back to the show.
Exactly.
Sick.
And thank you for listening to that. We are back and we are geeking out. And today,
Geeking.
that subject is going to be the Umbrella Academy. Netflix's own. Because season 2 came out a couple of weeks ago. I finally finished that shit.
Finally.
And now we get to talk about it. And if you're not familiar with it, it's created by Gerard Way. lead singer of My Chemical Romance, one of the greatest emo bands of all time. Also found out this week he's also Joe Rogan's cousin.
I also found out just today that he also wrote for Killjoys.
Word. And
which is a sci-fi original.
Oh, the sci-fi series?
Yes.
Oh shit, word. I never fucked with it, but that shit did.
And it's still ongoing too.
Word, cause sci-fi do got that one show with the black shorty going through space and doing shit.
That's the current new one that they're doing that they just dropped. Magician. Well, technically replacing Magicians.
Magician still ain't.
No, it came out Monday. That comes out Wednesdays instead of Mondays.
And Umbrella Academy came out under Dark Horse, and it was a dark horse, like pun intended, because it kind of flew under the wave of shit, under the radar, I should say. Just like kind of like My Chemical Romance did, if you went into that scene. But of course, they had their pop hits that you either are familiar with or you're not, and that's cool. But we're here to talk about the TV series. So, where do we want to dive in?
I mean,
did you want to get into it?
We could give them the basic synopsis and then get into it, baby.
Daniel, you want to give them a quick synopsis real quick?
Yeah, on the 1st of September 1989, 43 infants, 43 women become pregnant that exact day and are at full term. They were not pregnant before that, and 43 infants are inexplicably born to random, unconnected women. And this guy, Reginald Hargreaves, goes and tries to buy some of them because he's like, you don't want this kid, I'll take this kid. He knew, for whatever reason, that they would be extraordinary.
Exactly.
He puts together a team of what he calls heroes, because there are forces in the world that need combating, and there need to be heroes. Now, the stress he puts on those kids, it's rough, but they each have an individual, unique ability.
Yes, and he brings them into his home, which he calls the Umbrella Academy.
Yes.
A la Charles Xavier School for the Gifted Youngsters and X-Men, and kind of like a series I'm gonna mention later, Doom Patrol with the Chief. But they all it's interesting to see that is it a trope, I guess, when the older male figure brings in these kids for his own objective and his own ideologies, and just to see how these kids grow up and evolve into their own people and adults, and realize most of the time adults are full of shit, and you never really care about us more or less. We were your tools for your own agenda.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a trope, I'll say.
Yeah.
And one of the things that goes with it is
them being old white men as well.
Well, sure, but
and wheelchairs.
But the person who adopts these kids or brings them in or whatever it is, makes them their ward, has an idea of what justice should be and how these kids need to do it. And again, that's where the expectations on these children are crazy.
Exactly, because like just like an academy, they have like school uniforms instead of costumes, which are dope and legit. Because like with the X-Men, they had the blue and gold, but for me, I prefer the gold and black, like in X-Men First Class, the comic book. But they all have uniforms because they are a singular team. And I also like the fact that they wore the domino mask and actually had their eyes white out, like you would see in the comic book, a la Deadpool in the movie, which I thought was dope too.
Well, and what you should know about the kids is each one has their own set ability. You've got Luther with super strength.
Because in the comic book, he had his head literally put on that of a
gorilla. It was gorilla body.
Yeah, straight up gorilla body.
Yeah.
But in the Netflix series, they switched it up and made it more like an experimentation gone awry.
He was injected with monkey blood, which mutated his body.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so throughout this, you will hear us call them by number and name besides 5. But for example, Luther is 1. Yes. And like we said about his abilities, then number 2 would be Diego.
He has like this uncanny aim, and he's able to kind of like manipulate the forces around whatever he's throwing or whatever's coming towards him.
Exactly. And 3 was Ross.
And 3 was Allison, who had mind control by saying, "I heard a rumor."
Oh, and that's the craziest part. Because I think you even hear the rumor has it.
Yeah, you do. Ooh, some Adele.
Yes.
And then you had number 4, Klaus, who had the ability to talk to the dead and also raise them up, and also had the ability to talk to their astral forms. And also, you come to find out in season 2, if you're not familiar with the comic books, if you're a ghost, you can actually inhabit his body, a la Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze.
And then you have number 5, who doesn't have a name, but he has space and time travel. Yes. And his story is possibly the richest.
His story alone could have been a series unto itself.
And with number 6, Ben, he had the ability to summon tentacles, summon tentacle monsters from another dimension.
Through his chest.
But we also come to realize when we're being introduced to Ben, Ben has already died. Well, technically, when we're really more introduced to the characters after, like, they first introduced them as kids, Ben has already died. The group has disbanded. But the only one that can see Ben is Klaus. And Ben can also still possess his powers while being in the astral plane of a ghost.
Which was very fascinating too, because I forget that he died at a young age. So he's been dead for like 16 years, and like just watching the show, and it's like time travel. This is like I just forget that element till it was brought up in season 2 towards the end. I was like, oh shit, you haven't seen her since you died. Only person that been able to see you was Ben. So that's the first time in like 16 years you have to talk to your sister, quote unquote, and that would be number 7, Vanya, played by Ellen Page, aka Kitty Pryde. And she had like this destructive ability, which I thought was just telekinesis, like a cure, but it was like a manipulation of sonic vibrations that you could convert into light destructive force energy. So that made her the most powerful character on the show. And yeah, and she's basically the reason why shit always go awry. And it's one of those things too. It's like, do you keep a bomb if you never know when it's gonna go off? But you also know that at one point in time it's gonna come in handy. Exactly. So with that being said, now we told you all about the characters. Like, what's some of the things that you like most about the series, Ross?
Well, we're actually missing technically 3 other key characters.
No, I'm just talking about the main.
Outside the
I'm just talking about the main kids, because we could be here talking about all these characters.
I was just
if we
talking about
talk
just like the moms.
I wouldn't even consider her a main character in that.
She was highly important in season 1 and made even more importance in season 2, since we found out that she was actually a real thing instead of a robot.
Well, yeah, that was like the most important part to her character. But then we could talk about like
as well as how
old buddy. What's his name? What's the dude's name?
Which one?
Monocle.
Oh, Reginald Hargreaves.
As well as I would say the monkey too.
Pogo. Put some respect on Pogo's name. And then you got Hazel and Cha Cha. Then you got Shorty that works in the bureau.
The commission.
The handler.
The fucking commission. Which, as someone who loves Doctor Who, appreciates that the timeline has to be restored and preserved. But even in Doctor Who, there was a bunch of people who would kill like people in history, like Hitler, a week before they were supposed to die so they could take over their body and punish them. But the commission is like an even more insidious version of that.
Well, it's really more of the handler who ran the commission because of what her agenda was, because technically she was running everything her way. Then things happened with 5 in season 1, and then also season 2 with the resistance and everything. So anything's possible now with the Time Travel Bureau.
This is true.
Exactly, and it's one of the things too, like, because depending on how you structure your time travel in the series and we introduce it, it could really fuck up a series. But since we've been low-key dealing with it from Jump Street, I'm fine with it. And it's a main point. They have their rules, their fundamentals, and it's just not no willy-nilly, like, oh, I'm the only one. Like, nah, bruh. Nah, we got a whole system, whole structure.
And not to jump to the end, but in the last episode of season 2, when all those commission folks show up on the in the farm area,
final battle,
you see all these different heads, kind of like Hazel and Cha-Cha had, but like a shit ton of random ones, and I love that.
Yeah, it's like that's one of the things too I do like about the series the most. Like, it's a different take over the normal superhero geared show. Like, you think it's gonna be all, yeah, we're gonna save the day, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna get along, we're kids with powers. Like, wrong. The more realer it is, the better for me, because it's like, nah, shit's gonna get fucked up. People die, like Ben died, like Loki was like the Thunderbird of the whole group, and that death affected everybody in different ways. But then you realize how much it does affect people because they don't harp on that too much once again because it's been so long. So you think they got past it, but it's like, nah, man, like Ben's gone, man.
Ben's death and the fact that they have pure dad issues.
Oh, they all have daddy issues
in one way or another.
Is so different from each other, but yet they just was like, they really want to try to point out, it's like, oh, only one in only Luther and Diego got daddy issues, and it's just like, no, all of them got daddy issues.
Because speaking of that, go more into Diego's daddy issues, because that was the one that was like more front and center, especially season 2.
Season 2 is front and center because of the pure fact that Diego really just dislikes their dad and thinks their dad just made them what they are, and he wants to prove, as well as in this time, they find out that like their dad is during the Kennedy murder. The Kennedy murder.
The assassination,
He realizes he's on this one path, while season 1 showed us like Luther's daddy issues, where Luther was sent to the dark side of the moon 10 years ago, and he thought it was all because of some mission and something important. So he comes back to Earth and just is on a whole, my dad sent me to the moon, I gotta find out reason why. Oh, this is why, blah, blah, blah. Only to come to find out his dad just sent him on the dark side of the moon just cuz.
Well, and even pointing out a character as complex as Five,
Yes.
who is older, who's gone through all that, you're like, he knows who Hargreaves is, but then in season 2, when he's sitting down with him, you see that little boy. You see the one who did not know his dad and even had to apologize, saying, I was awful, man. I'm sorry. I should have listened.
Yeah.
That's an old person finally being able to reconcile with the person who they should have trusted, and that's crazy.
I don't want to make that analogy like I've said before. It's like being young, you're young. You don't think about the future because you're in the now. And once you get older, if you have the blessing of being able to age and mature, you start to do things and realize things differently. Like, for example, watching older movies or just watching TV programs now, you start agreeing with the parents. When you start doing like shit like that, like, oh, damn, now I'm sounding like my parents at their age because now I'm at their age. And sometimes being a kid, you just don't know how fucked the world is. And
right.
Being an adult, being a person isn't easy. So sometimes you have to make the best choice, and sometimes that choice is shitty. But it needs to be made.
And another person that had even more serious daddy issues,
Vanya.
She's being drugged, also getting her memories right, and getting her and like literally being mind controlled by a little sister who was going through guilt of not knowing why she was doing that because their dad just kept telling her to do it.
Well, and Ben says it best in that episode in season 2 where he's like, Dad was shitty. He treated you like a bomb before you ever went off. And kind of like what you're saying, it's like when I go back and rewatch Malcolm in the Middle. When I was younger, I related with Malcolm, Reese, and Dewey.
You would.
And then when I hit like my college ages, I was like, oh man, Francis, I get you. And now that I'm about to be 30, I'm like, yo, Hal and Lois, you guys are doing your best.
For real,
y'all are just out here doing
raising
what we
kids,
do.
especially boys, is stressful. And it's funny that you bring up the fact that Ellen Page's character, Vanya, was dealing with mind manipulation from her father and vice versa. Similar to how the Kitty Pryde grew up idolizing Charles, and then being like, Charles, you're a dick, and also had her mind manipulated by another telepath as well.
Yes.
So those things happening because being, from that perspective, he was trying to do what he thought was best for her, but not realizing, no, you need to treat her like a person. And then by doing all that shit to her, isolating her, this, that, and third, the world ends. Because you just couldn't love her, or at least find a better way to help her be who she is.
He was so afraid.
A la to like Jean Grey and Professor X, like, I'ma subdue the Phoenix, I'ma wipe your mind so you don't even know this thing here, put up blocks, not tell you, then be surprised when them cracks happen.
Well, and me having I'm rereading the Ultimate X-Men series, having read the original X-Men series, you see those parallels, and it's like almost like in every universe, Charles or whoever is mentoring Jean is gonna be like, oh, this is too much.
Yeah.
And that's how you create your own villain. That's how you make a villain out of Pierce.
They did kind of create him too.
They did. They kept fucking on. You are this, you are that. Well, guess what? I'm about to be. I got a pocket full of Hawthorns. Let's talk about, I think, low-key is everybody's fan favorite character.
Klaus.
Exactly.
Yes.
And what is it about Klaus to you, Ross, that makes him so magnetic or what draws people into him?
I think the thing that makes Klaus so great is the pure fact that he's like probably the closest person that, I have powers, but I don't want to really use them. I'm struggling with what's going on with the world, and I'm also just like having to deal with everything that's going around with me. And the only thing that calms me down is being high right now because it disconnects me from the world and my thoughts. The fact that Ben's tag along with him, trying to be his sober partner, but just be his brother.
And Ben was totally Klaus's Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, and it's just, he went through so much. The fact that, like, he came out gay, he lost his gay partner during the Vietnam.
Conflict.
Klaus lost his little brother Ben at a young age, who was the closest to him. And it's just, he did, and he hated everything. And also at a young age, he could always see ghosts. So like the only thing that could like disconnect him from seeing ghosts and all that was doing drugs and whatnot. So he came to the thing that's like, I have to numb myself to numb my powers.
For real, because seeing ghosts, period. I see ghosts, and I'm normal, no powers, and I see them sporadically. And seeing the dead all the time and having them fucking talking to you would drive anybody insane. And what about you, Daniel? What makes Klaus your favorite?
No, I got to go with what Ross is saying, but before I get into what I really love about him, in that episode, I think it's the final episode of season 2, where you do see him bring Ben back, and it's really hard to write moments that hit you, but there's that connection where Klaus is like, oh, it's fine, you can go whenever you want, I'm an expert. Yeah. And he's like, you want to see me pee in Dad's gas tank? And it's this little moment where it's two brothers who have done this before who are like, of course I want to see
Are you talking about when Ben died and he came back as a kid? So
yes.
yeah, then that's when I realized, oh, ever since you've been seeing him and y'all been...
You guys have been best friends, even though, and even when they fight,
that's
it's
why I love
slapping, and it's like...
That's why I loved in the one scene in season 2. I was like, when they were fine, I was like, you better have me a scene when somebody drive by and it just see them fine with them. And they do that. It's like,
and as they fight, it's not big swings like Luther or Diego would do. It's like, oh, you son of a bitch, I fucking hate you.
And just like the other scene when it was at the bar, I was like, oh, he's gonna use Ben to cheat, but Ben ain't gonna do it just to fuck with him. Yeah.
What I love about Klaus is he's a beautiful mess. Kind of like he says towards the end of season 2, I'm hot trash.
Yes, and
I feel that in my soul.
Exactly, and he has that Jack Sparrow-ness to him, especially in season 2, like the carefree, dirty, like hippie-ish, like whatever, man. Love, peace, have a good time. We all die, but we don't, because I see things.
And what's even more great too on season 2 is the pure fact that he did not realize he created a cult. And not only does he create a cult, he named it Destiny's Children. And then just used all types of 90s random lyrics as quotes to keep them good. And then he tattooed on his hand, hello, goodbye.
Well, and I gotta say, yes, he's one of my favorite characters. The rest of them also have so much to play in this show. 5 is easily tied with Klaus for me.
Word. And
for me, it's value. I ain't gonna lie.
And to since we getting into this segment, I'm gonna finish this off about talking about one of the children that we haven't talked much more about, and that's Allison.
Oh my God.
She has the ability to manipulate people's will and minds by saying, "I heard a rumor." So she had a vocal cord slash. I thought she was killed, but she wasn't killed. But it killed a part of her, and she didn't feel like she was complete anymore. And what I love about her story arc in this season, just like Watchmen that came out last year, which I find fascinating this time and point right now that we're in, is that we have to look to superhero shows and things to once again shine the light on how trash and how unfair America was for African Americans and minorities in this country historically, factually. Because once again, I've said it before, time travel is all ha in theory, but once you go back to these days and these time periods, it's not fun if you look like me, Ross, or Daniel. And they go back in time to 1962, 63, to the 60s, some at different times. And of course, Allison is black. So now she has to deal with that aspect of her life. Because it's one thing to go through racism right now, but when you go back there when they had no problem calling you a nigger to your face, where you can't eat here, you can't drink from here, you can't do this. Y'all know this is your business, but if I'm a white man and I want to come in and say something to you, you better open that door. And if you don't, you're dead. Or worse, we take everything from you. But then again, I'll take that back. That's nothing worse than death. So just seeing that brought back up and how prolific and how important it was to that story because she was trying to be a part of the civil rights movement with her husband, who was also on another one of our favorite shows, The Originals. That dude is a great actor. I think he should play Brother Voodoo in the Doctor Strange movie, if I haven't said that already.
You're absolutely right.
He needs to be some character somewhere else. He needs to get his glow up. But just seeing that, once again, just reminds me, as a black man, especially during BLM and all this shit going on right now, like, yes, we're getting better, but we still have ways to go. And also, we have to respect those that came before us. So and that's one thing too, like, this show opens people's minds, hearts to the plight. And I hope with that being said, and people watching this series, that they start to rethink about just how impactful that time was and also how long ago it was not.
I'd like to point out, and I know you and I have talked about this plenty of times, but there's something beautiful about the fact of taking like a superhero show or a sci-fi show and adding in those real elements the same way Watchmen did.
Yes.
Because it educates people in a way that they weren't expecting, but they can see now. You know? Oh, you connect with this character. Well, guess what? This character's about to go through a whole lot of racism and hate.
And this is without having powers. How did you feel about Allison's arc this season, Ross?
I'm gonna be honest. Allison's arc this season probably might have been my favorite arc this season. Outside of the pure fact of the comedy scene of Luther and Diego's brotherhood, I forgot how great that there's two dumb brothers.
Olga for Olga.
You
took one of ours, we're gonna take one of yours.
It means eye for eye. Oh, we're sorry. One of my favorite scenes, as well as just the pure fact of them playing onto Luther and Alice's relationship yet again, and how much they actually care for each other, but yet due to the time span, how much they moved on with their lives, not noticing ever to reach out, even though they were just like a few miles away from each other if they decide to reach out. That's probably the one great thing about this whole season 2. Is like, yeah, even though everybody came at different times, if they wanted to, they couldn't. Like, if they would have reached out more than just those few months of them coming in, they could have found each other.
Word. All right, so with that being said, that's going to be the end of Yo, We Kicking Out. Now we about to... Yeah. So now we just go ahead into Yo, check it out. So this is where we recommend any movie, TV show, or whatever for those that have already watched Umbrella Academy. And I'm going to start that off with a movie called Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Yes!
Ooh,
I heard the books are way better. Of course they are.
But the movie was amazing.
But I love that movie. It was weird, it's awkward, and it's, once again, in that trope of a bunch of kids being in school or home, learning how to deal with their awkward abilities, but even weirder abilities. And it's also time travel in that shit. And guess what? Samuel L. Jackson. So that's my pick. Ross, what about you?
I'm gonna be honest. It's not a group of superheroes or anything, but it is a group of awkward kids getting into defining themselves and having somebody help them become who they are. It's a new Disney original movie called Magic Camp, starring Adam Devine and Jillian Jacob. For those that don't know, or that truly do know her, that's Britta from Community.
And Adam Devine from Workaholics. And the Pitch Perfect movies.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, what about you? You got one to recommend?
For me, it's going to be Misfits.
Okay.
It's the BBC series, and if you like Klaus, if you like Cassidy from Preacher, you need to watch Misfits.
Oh, yeah, because he was the asshole.
Yes,
What
he
was he
was,
like?
yeah.
Multiple personalities? Like, okay.
So you need to watch Misfits, BBC. It's either on Netflix or Hulu, but
It should
find
still be
a way
on
to watch
Hulu.
that.
Yeah, it should still be.
Yeah, watch
and
it.
speaking of gorillas and sex, there's gorilla sex in it, but it's not bestiality because they cut away from them.
But it's a great show, and young Klaus is just as much of who he is, you know.
Word. So yeah, guys, that's a wrap. As always, thank you, Daniel, for being our editor.
Of course. And thank you for having me today to talk about Umbrella Academy.
Of course, why
need
not,
it, brother?
Shit. All right, guys. So that's gonna bring this to an end of Yo, where the Captions at, the most ridiculously random pop culture podcast in the 719. And as always, I'm Kels for show.
You know me, it's Roscoe.
And just remember, guys, Be one or be nothing.
Be kind, dog.
Take care. We'll see you later.
Late.
Yep.